Welcome to episode 3 of my 2026 predictions. My name is Lissabeta Kalag, your go-to Vedic astrologer and psychic medium and spiritual coach. So, like I've said before in the previous episodes, 2026 is a really important year for us, right? If you haven't already, visit my website, AstroDevi.com, where you can book a personal, more accurate session and discover what awaits for you in the year 2026. Right now, I'm having 30% off sale until January 1st, 2026. And you could book your sessions online, or you could DM me at AstroDevi333 on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. So let's find out in this episode what else is going on in 2026, because there's a lot happening. It is, according to Chinese astrology, a fire horse year, and it is also a universal numerology 1 year, which is really big here. So let's tap into the fire horse year first before I start talking about the numerology. So the fire horse year officially begins February 17th, 2026. And the fire horse energy, well, horses are very independent. They're beautiful animals. They're animals that like a lot of movement. They're animals that enjoy their freedom. And so this year represents you attaining your freedom, attaining movement, having speed, being independent, rebelling against control. It's about you being sovereign. So in horse years, humans tend not to tolerate stagnation, or anything restrained or anything fake or anything outdated. All that gets exposed. You become more broken free from these systems, which is what you want, because a horse wants independence. So you're being encouraged to really step up your game in 2026. And the fire element adds a lot of passion. So you may discover that you're more visible, you're more passionate. You might discover that you might be dealing with some volatility because you are trying to attain your freedom and your independence. You'll find that you're more courageous in this year, and you're more charismatic this year. You're more charming this year. You feel a little bit, you're motivated to be something different. So when fire meets horse, it really indicates that a lot of events in 2026 are going to move really quickly, okay? Because the energy is just fast paced. You will see new leaders rising out of nowhere. You'll see people stepping away from groups so that they could lead. You'll see that systems start to collapse. Once the cracks are appearing, systems will collapse, old systems collapse. You'll see that people feel like have this internal push to either leave where they're living or where they're working and go somewhere new, maybe launch something brand new, launch a new project, launch a product, launch a new business. There'll be a lot of people relocating. There'll be revolts even happening, because if in a horse year, when someone starts to feel restrained, like they don't have the freedom and the movement and the independence, they start to revolt because they want their freedom. So they're not afraid to fight. You have a lot more courage in a 2026 year. And so one of the reasons why these years could be intense is because, historically, fire horse years, there's a lot of sudden social shifts going on. There's a lot of mass movements. There's financial volatility taking place. You're going to see some shifts happening with the currencies around the world, which is going to be huge. There's a lot more revolutionary thinking taking place. People are refusing to play small, to be small, to act small, to do things in a small way. People want to glow up in 2026, which is what you should be working on. Many people are outgrowing their current situation. They're outgrowing their comfort zone. And the last time, now that I think of it, the last time we had the fire horse year was in 1966. And that year was known for revolutions. It was known for social uprisings. It was known for, the radical redefinition of identity and power. So what does that translate for 2026? Well, it means that forced loyalty is going to break. No one wants to be pressured into a relationship or a partnership that they think is not authentic. False authority is going to collapse. It's going to be challenged. If people feel like you're not being an authentic leader, they're going to call you out. You're going to be challenged in that way. You'll see it in politics. You'll see it in governments around the world. A lot more independent voices are dominating, are speaking up, are using their platform to create change. You'll see because there's such fast movement, there's this strong desire to win, to reach the finish line, to make something happen before someone else does, and people that are clinging to like the old systems, to the old structures, they are going to struggle. They are going to miss out on a lot. So be open to new, wonderful, positive experiences that not only benefit you on a personal level, but also benefit humanity. This is definitely a year for entrepreneurs, for leaders, for, disruptors, for people that want to make changes. There's a huge opportunity here for you in 2026. But for those of you that want to stick to the controlled based systems, this is going to feel kind of like a pressure cooker. It's going to feel really volatile. It's going to feel very uncomfortable. Now let's move into the Numerology Universal Year 1. That's going to give us more in-depth information about this year. Now notice how nobody says 2026. Everybody calls 2026 2026. Nobody says 2026 and 2026. So there's a lot of vibration that's focused on the 20 and the 26 in this Universal Year 1. How did I come to the Universal Year 1? Well, you add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6. It comes out to a 10. You reduce the 10, 1 plus 0 to 1. So the vibration this year, 20 is the awakening in Chaldean numerology, which is what I practice, right? This means we're dealing with judgment, revelation, sudden awareness. There's a veil that's lifting. 20 is the awakener number because it represents truth coming out. It represents hidden things being revealed, coming to the surface. It represents like a wake-up call that's going to change and challenge you. You'll feel that you were in one direction and now you're moving into a completely different one. You're going to be feeling more called to your purpose this year than ever before. And it's not always comfortable. Sometimes, you feel like challenged because of the situation that you're in, the people that you're involved with, whatever it is, you're going to feel you have to do it. There's this pressure that I got to do this. I can't wait anymore. I can't wait for other people. I can't wait for things to be perfect. I need to make the time and do it now. There's a lot of pressure and not waiting for things to be perfect, but just taking advantage of what's in front of you. In real life, you're going to start seeing that a lot of these illusions, in your personal life, you'll see that a lot of these illusions that you had about people, places, and things are going to collapse. You're going to also realize that maybe you were avoiding something this whole time, and now you have to take advantage of the situation and do something, make a change. You're going to see that too. Other people were acting in a way where they're avoiding confronting people, places, and things, right? So no matter what, when you start to walk into 2026, you know that you have to make some choices, some very important choices that you can no longer hold off on anymore. So there's definitely this pressure that I have to do something, I have to act, right? Now the 26 part of 2026, this suggests power through partnership. What do I mean by that? Because 26 is a wealth number, you reduce it to an 8. It indicates that it combines the relationships, diplomacy, money, responsibility. Has a sense of Venusian value here. Because of the 6 and 8 itself, its power, its material manifestation, its money, its wealth. So the two numbers have to do with financial restructuring. So you're going to see that in your life financially, you want to do something to help create more money, more stability. So you're going to be restructuring your finances in some way, shape, or form. It could be you and your spouse, your partner, you and your business partner, maybe you at work in the role that you're playing. Maybe you're looking to do something extra, do something on the side to make some extra money. Whatever it is, there's definitely an upgrade and an upper game in your, you're glowing up in your financial arena, in the financial area of your life. So you're finding a way to really create more abundance and wealth in your money, which is going to be beautiful. Now you're also going to experience power shifts through alliances. So maybe you weren't feeling comfortable with one person and now you're aligning with someone else, and the energy is much more positive for the two of you to create more wealth, to create more happiness, to create more abundance. Now this could happen on a personal level, it could happen on a professional level, it could be about finances, it could be just generally in relationships, just trying to glow up and make your relationship absolutely amazing. But nonetheless, there's a lot of karmic money lessons happening in 2026. And for those of you that really learn from your experiences, you're going to be able to capitalize on that energy. For those of you that have been greedy and selfish and not thinking about, just thinking about yourself and take, you're going to learn some maybe, harsh lessons in 2026. But you also learn, which one of the things that I do like about this year is you learn who really has your back, who's really who's really your cheerleader, who really wants you to do well, and those that don't want you to do well. And so it's beautiful because it does help check the balances and bring things back into perspective in terms of alliances and, who your real enemies are, who are the people that really don't want you to do well. The shadow side of this energy this year is that some people may experience betrayal in your partnerships. You might experience betrayal, with your boss, with your business partner, with the people that you're working with the people that you're trying to do, create more money with. There's definitely some power struggle that's going to happen. But if you keep what I'm telling you in mind, you're going to be able to overcome a lot of that because you'll see it before it happens. So you'll be able to pick up the cues and follow the intuition, and you get those like little light bulbs going off and you'll know what to do. And so you won't be in that situation, but you need to be paying attention. They are, like I said before, there's some financial lessons also involving learning, financial lessons that you're going to be learning in terms of your relationships with other people. That's okay. Just remember, before you go into 2026, just ask God to guide you, to help you do things in a way that's going to protect your assets, protect your money, and also multiply your money. So this way the lessons aren't as harsh, right? If you handle things consciously, with that said, if you handle things consciously, you'll be able to, have more authority in your life. You'll be able to be more strategic in your life, especially when it comes to money, finances, and relationships. You'll be able to establish long-term wealth, which is beautiful. We want that. And you'll be able to step into a leadership role that's more mature, that's more experienced, that's more seasoned, which is really important. So when you put together, because I want to wrap this up, when you put together the horse fire year 2026 and you're putting together the numerology year one, energetically what it's saying is that this year is a year that you wake up and you run. You run and you move. This is about you breaking free from the past, from things that held you before. This is about you claiming your power, being wise in doing so. This is about you, some things that you're going to see too is, truth being exposed on a scale like you've never seen before. You'll see some sudden exits from toxic structures, toxic relationships. Now, this could happen in your personal life, in your professional life, or this could happen on a global level. I'm also seeing it on a global level. You'll see a lot of financial power shifting. You're going to see this with the currency around the world, money, currencies around the world between different countries. You're going to see new leaders rising up fast. This could also be you taking more leadership in your life, and you're rising up to the occasion to create something amazing for yourself and your family. You'll see a lot of partnerships being tested. Some, the aligned ones, the positive, healthy partnerships are going to survive. The ones that are not, the ones that are not aligned are not going to survive moving forward. So, keep that in mind. It's not a year to be passive. Because this year you have to be so proactive. If you are, you get rewarded. You're going to have the courage. You're going to be independent. You're going to create these amazing alliances. You're going to create and make decisions that are just going to support your life in ways that you've never seen before. But if you are not proactive, chances are you're going to suffer through complacency, codependency, through false loyalty relationship, and through ignoring your intuition. So some advice for 2026, as if I didn't have enough already. Some advice for 2026 is, if you feel, and pay attention. Well, no, let me start with this. Don't wait for the perfect circumstance to do something. Don't wait for the perfect condition to do something. Do it now. Do it now. Don't wait. Don't wait to launch. Don't wait to pivot moves. Don't wait to relocate. Don't wait to exit or leave a situation. Do it as soon as you feel that feeling like, I got to do this, do it. That's your intuition talking to you, because in 2026, momentum matters. You cannot slow yourself down for anybody. This is like, you have to be like a horse, fast, steady, you keep going, right? You only take a break to drink and eat, and then you keep going. It's really, one of the one of your mantras really should be that knowing that clarity will come to you after you move, not before. So when you get, it's almost like when you start working out, right? What happens when you're working out or you're going for a walk? You get all these downloads, all these ideas coming into your mind, but you have to take the step and move your body, walk around before the ideas can get downloaded in your mind. Now, the other part of it is that, 2026 is demanding that you wake up. So if you feel that something is off, chances are it is. Stop protecting lies, stop protecting illusions, stop protecting titles and history, because you may not know what the truth is behind that, and you don't want to be responsible or take any kind of accountability for any false pretenses, lies, or illusions, because they will bite you in the butt later on in the year. And when you speak and you do things, do speak, act from a place of truth, from a place of integrity, from a place of honesty, from a place of love. That's really important, because if you don't, you're going to disrupt your life in ways that you haven't foreseen coming. You know what I mean? And if you don't, you may create opportunities unknowingly that bring losses to you in some way, shape, or form. So choosing partners is very strategic, very smart for you to do. Choose partners in a strategic way, not an emotionally aligned way. Choose a partner that makes financial sense. Choose a partner that makes sense on the books. Choose a partner that will create some kind of structure in your life. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't choose someone because I care about you, but you're not smart. You could care about somebody, but they don't have the intelligence and skills to help you in whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in your life, whatever dreams and goals that you're trying to, achieve in your life. So make sure that you vet people before you invite them in your life. Vet everyone. Vet your friends, vet your relationships, vet, anybody new coming in, or even anybody new coming in, vet. Anyone that already exists in your life, do some auditing. Do some auditing. And as far as, because there's so much emphasis on like business and partnerships in 2026, make sure you get everything in writing. Make sure your contracts are in writing, make sure your agreements are in writing, make sure your negotiations are in writing, make sure the changes are all in writing. If you're going to get married, maybe even consider getting a prenup. That might be even a great idea. It's important in 2026 to separate love and money. Separate love and money. Separate the feelings between the two. Look at things from a more business perspective, because 2026 is about, it's about covering you, covering your butt, covering your future. If you do the work, everything else will fall into place. Remember, aligned partnerships will lead to exponential growth. Misaligned ones are going to be karmic financial lessons. They're going to be, they might bite you in the butt in some way, shape, or form. Another thing that I want to point out here is, be authentic without without apologizing for it. This year's energy wants you to be an independent thinker, wants you to be a leader in your own way, shape, or form, and with some kind of skill or your work or whatever it is, or maybe even your role at home. Be a leader for yourself, be authentic, don't compromise yourself for anyone. You have to be willing to stand alone, if it means keeping your integrity, keeping your authenticity, okay? You can't compromise yourself, because if you don't shrink, you'll be able to maintain emotional and mental peace. Do not shrink for anyone, because peace that costs you your power, your authenticity, your integrity in 2026 is going to be way too expensive. So you don't want to do that. It's definitely not a year to overextend commitments. Do not carry other people financially. Maintain your own system, maintain your own structure. Understand what you're doing. Don't allow others to drain you financially, mentally, emotionally. You need all the energy that you can get for 2026. Any dead weight, cut it out fast. Just keep going. You need to keep going. and trust your intuition, because you don't need, remember, in 2026, we don't need anybody's permission to be us. We don't need anybody's permission to experience success and wealth and abundance and joy. You don't need to validate, you don't need anyone's validation. You only need your own validation, and most importantly, know yourself, know your capability, know what you can do. Don't let others tell you what that is. If you have any questions, obviously you come see me. I'll look at your chart and give you all the answers. But don't wait for other people to agree with you, to validate you. Open up your own doors, open up your own windows, and guide yourself, because 2026 is going to reward you. The more that you do that, the more you step in that kind of role, you're going to be rewarded. You're going to be, you're going to have better alliances. You're going to have more money. You're going to have a lot more happiness and a lot more peace of mind. Whew. It's an interesting year, isn't it? So I'll see you all in the next video. If you haven't already, go to AstroDevi.com, get 30% off of all your sessions until January 1st of 2026. And I'll see you in the next episode for predictions.